I lost an arm on my last trip home, my left arm, and I lost about a year of my life and much of the comfort and security I had not valued until it was gone. When the police released Kevin, he came to the hospital and stayed with me so I would know that I hadn't lost him too. Before he could come to me, I had to convince the police that he did not belong in jail. That took time. The police were shadows who appeared intermittently at my bedside to ask me questions I had to struggle to understand. "How did you hurt your arm?" they asked. "Who hurt you?" My attention was captured by the word they used, hurt, as though I'd scratched my arm. Didn't they think I knew it was gone? "Accident," I heard myself whisper. It was an accident. They began asking me about Kevin. Their words seemed to blur together at first, and I paid little attention. After a while, though, I replayed them and suddenly realized that these men were trying to blame Kevin for hurting my arm. No, I shook my head weakly against the pillow. Not Kevin. Is he here? Can I see him? Who then? They persisted. I tried to think through the drugs, through the distant pain, but there was no honest explanation I could give them, none that they would believe. "An accident," I repeated. "My fault, not Kevin's. Please let me see him." I said this over and over until the vague police shapes left me alone, until I woke to find Kevin sitting, dozing beside my bed. I wondered briefly how long he had been there, but it didn't matter. The important thing was he was there. I slept again, relieved. Finally, I awoke feeling able to talk to him coherently and understand what he said. I was almost comfortable, except for the strange throbbing of my arm, of where my arm had been. I moved my head, tried to look at the empty place, the stump. Then Kevin was standing over me, his hands on my face, turning my head toward him. He didn't say anything. After a moment, he sat down again, took my hand and held it. I felt as though I could have lifted my other hand and touched him. I felt as though I had another hand. I tried again to look, and this time he let me. Somehow, I had to see to be able to accept what I knew was so. After a moment, I lay back against the pillow and closed my eyes. "Above the elbow," I said. They had to. I know. I'm just trying to get used to it. I opened my eyes and looked at him, and then I remembered my earlier visitors. "Have I gotten you in trouble?" "Me?" "The police were here. They thought you had done this to me." "Oh, that. They were sheriff's deputies. The neighbors called them when you started to scream. They questioned me, detained me for a while. That's what they call it. But you convinced them that they might as well let me go." "Good," I told them. "It was an accident. My fault." "There's no way a thing like this can be your fault." "That's debatable, but it certainly wasn't your fault." "Are you still in trouble?" "I don't think so. They're sure I did it, but there were no witnesses, and you won't cooperate. Also, I don't think they can figure out how I could have hurt you in the way you were hurt. I closed my eyes, remembering the way I had been hurt, remembering the pain. And that begins a great novel, a great African American novel by the name of Kindred. What happens is, in the summer of 1976, a young woman named Dana is moving into a house with her husband, Kevin. She begins to have dizzy spells, and each one is a warning that she will be pulled back through time and across place from Los Angeles to Maryland in the pre-Civil War days, where her life means nothing. Each trip becomes more frightening, more violent than the last. I I swear this was one of the scariest books I ever read. I'm telling you, like some people read to fall asleep at night, and it doesn't work for me. Never has. But one thing about this was I would read this book in the morning and I would, you know, say, all right, I'm awake. Because that's what it felt like. It's an amazing book. It's a difficult read, but I guarantee you, you won't regret it if it sounds anything like, um, something you would do. There's no spoiler alert. I'm not going to tell you why she keeps moving across time and place. She does figure it out after like the fourth or fifth time. The novel is Kindred, the author, Octavia Butler. This is another episode of Moraine Reads. I'm Joe Malarkey from the library. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Keep on reading.